I'm Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East Senatorial District, and I'm leading the lead debate on the Foreign Exchange Control and Monitoring Bill 2024, SB 353. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, I felt quite honored to be given the opportunity to lead the debate on this Foreign Exchange Control and Monitoring Bill 2024. The bill was read for the first time on Tuesday, 20th February 2024. The important bill seeks to repeal the Foreign Exchange Monitoring and Miscellaneous Provision Act, CAP F34, laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and established a foreign exchange market in Nigeria to make provisions for the control, monitoring, and supervision of transactions conducted in the foreign exchange market. The objectives of the bill include, among others, to establish a foreign exchange market, to provide for the regulation, monitoring, and supervision of the transactions conducted in the market and for related matters, to contribute to the sound development of the national economy by striving to facilitate foreign transactions, to maintain an equilibrium of balance of international payments, to stabilize the value of currency by ensuring the liberalization of foreign exchange transactions, to maintain an equilibrium of balance of international payments, and to stabilize the value of currency by ensuring the liberalization of foreign exchange transactions and other foreign transactions by revitalizing market functionalities. The bill attempts to expand Section 1 of the existing acts to incorporate 3 new provisions to make for clarity and to empower the Central Bank of Nigeria to administer, control, and manage all dealings and transactions in relation to foreign exchange matters. The newly introduced clauses will enable the CBN to determine the basic exchange rate of purchase and sale of foreign exchange. Clause 6 of the bill introduces new subclauses 2, 4, and 5, which require authorized dealers to render returns to the CBN on sources of foreign exchange in excess of 10,000 USD and utilization of same, and obtain prior approval of the CBN when seeking to import foreign currency notes for the market. Part 3 of the bill makes elaborate provisions for the grant of a license to carry on business dealings in foreign exchange. In this part, provisions were made for the refusal of license, suspension or revocation of license, review and appeal, etc. Clause 18, 1A and B were added to expand the scope of dealers in the market, and where funds are purchased from the bank, the market rate may be subject to rules and regulations prescribed by the bank. The operation of domiciliary accounts shall be as prescribed by the bank, and the powers of the CBN have been widened to prescribe how foreign exchange may be accepted for the payment for goods and services in Nigeria. Mr. President, the future of any nation is a function of her ability as a nation to manage its economy efficiently and optimally. Intrinsically linked to the wellness of a country's economy is the state of its foreign exchange market, usually regulated by a foreign exchange regime. Foreign exchange control measures are often adopted by a government as a strategy to either ban the use of foreign currency or restrict the amount of domestic currency that can be exchanged, traded, or purchased within her foreign exchange market. The main aim of exchange control, as deduced from most systems where exchange controls are in place, is to prevent or redress an adverse balance of payments by limiting foreign exchange purchases to an amount not in excess of foreign exchange receipts, in line with the requirements of Article 1 of International Monetary Fund, IMF, Articles of Agreement 2011. The article recognizes FOREX control as a strategy usually adopted by countries with transitional economies and in particular the ones with weaker economies. Mr. President, this bill does not attach or envisage any financial burden on government because it does not seek to establish any agency or commission that may require funding by government. The bill, when passed into law, will contribute to sound development of our national economy, facilitate foreign transactions, and most importantly, stabilize the value of our currency by ensuring the liberalization of foreign transactions and revitalizing market functionality. The Senate is invited to note that the purpose of Foreign Exchange Control and Monitoring Bill 2004 and 2024 is to repeal the Foreign Exchange Monitoring and Miscellaneous Provision Acts, CAF F34 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and establish a foreign exchange market in Nigeria and to provide for the control, monitoring, and supervision for related matters. It is obvious from all indications that the 1995 Act, which was codified in 2004, in its present form requires to be comprehensively reviewed to remove its outdated provisions and to bring in new provisions to match up with new challenges in the regulation of foreign exchange market in line with international best practices and with the requirements of Article 14 of the International Monetary Fund, Articles of Agreement 2011. This is exactly what the present bill has done. I urge you all to give this bill an expeditious and speedy passage into law. Thank you, Mr. President.
Plateau Central. President of the Senate and my colleagues, I am not an accountant. I'm not even an economist. I just read physics, but I stand here to support this bill for the fact that one of the fundamental problems we have now is the value of our currency, the naira. And therefore, any step that will be taken to see to it that the naira, our currency, gain value, I think it should be a must-watch affair. And therefore, if this bill seeks to add value, to bring back value to our naira, it must be a bill that should be supported. However, I would like to suggest that in the midst of the legislators, I'm very certain that here we have a lot of experts. And I believe that this is a moment for experts in finance, accounting, and so on and so forth, to look at this bill very critically and find a way of adding some value to this bill. Because at this stage, if Nigeria will be able to approach and bring policies that will bring back value to our naira, most of the socio-economic problems we're facing, I am very certain we will have solution. I commend the mover of this bill, and I would like to ask that experts should use their lenses. Asuko and others should use your lenses and consultants we have here and see to it what can we add so that at the end of the day, we will come out with a bill that will help to retain our economy. I thank you, Mr. President, and my colleagues for allowing me bring my own suggestion towards this bill. Thank you.
My name is Senator Abdul Ningi, representing Bauchi Central of Bauchi State. Mr. President, this is a very, very much commendable out-of-box thinking, and of course, by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance. It is imperative that we have a lot of problems in this country, and that we have been so lackadaisical in calling to some of these issues at hand. In particular, the 2004 provision has not been able to capture the essence and the stability of the foreign exchange in our country. The foreign exchange, as adequately canvassed by the Appropriation Committee Chairman, has been left in tatters. Nobody seems to be in control. Now, you begin to wonder, is it the law that is the problem, or is it the implementers of the law that is the problem? By reading through the submissions of this bill, you begin to see some gaps that were actually created after the 2004 bill that was passed into law by the National Assembly. So therefore, it is important to begin to look at these gaps and to close them. However, I do not think the law at second reading is sufficient enough to be able to give us a very clear indication of where we're going. This particular law has to be subjected to a series of public hearings so that experts from all over Nigeria and beyond will be able to come and give us their own mindset. Part of the problem we have been having is that where we try to do this law for the good of the citizens, but at the background, there are people who are well educated, they are trying to take the opportunity in looking at these gaps and try to play around and manipulate it. So it is important that we pass this law to second reading, but equally important that we must subject it to rigorous public hearing so that at the end of the day, what you are going to receive is a fair representation and acceptance by Nigerians. I should support this bill.
This is the heading says lead debate on foreign exchange control and monitoring bill 2024. The body of the lead debate says repeal and enactment. So I think that's the confusion there. The bill actually says this bill important bill. Okay, maybe the idea was to say this important bill seeks to repeal the Foreign Exchange Monitoring and Miscellaneous Provisions Act Cap F34, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and establish a foreign exchange market in Nigeria. It's very wide. It's very broad. I believe that fiscal and monetary policies belong to Minister of Finance, coordinating Minister of the Economy, and then, of course, the monetary policy belongs to the Governor of Central Bank and his own board. It would have been wonderful if this came as executive bill. Then we would have been able to. But if within here, we try to monitor and control foreign exchange, we may, by legislation, be driving executive actions that if our proposals fail, then it is the parliament that will be blamed. But be that as it may, let me hear from the former Accountant General of the Federation, distinguished Senator Dan Kwambo. Where it is the job of the parliament. It's the job of the parliament to get every expertise, every expertise that is needed for us to do our work, to guide us properly. So let me hear.
My name is Ibrahim, Senator Ibrahim Ankwambo, representing Gombe North. I was still making my points when Mr. President called me. So I am obeying as obeyed. Let me start too by commending the initiative of bringing anything today that can regulate or stabilize the foreign exchange in Nigeria. And to commend the mover of the bill too, and the contributions that have been made so far. The foreign exchange market, Mr. President, is very sensitive and very delicate, as said by the previous speakers. And the stability of the market is determined by so many things. Today, as we are talking, if we live here trying to bring something different from the existing guideline, by evening today, if the exchange rate is 1.6, it may go to 1.8. Today, if there are chances that some kind of laws are being made today that will create chaos or commotion in the country, people will start going to look for foreign exchange. Demand will go up. With the limited supply, exchange rate will go up. So it's not the amount of regulation, really, that determine or stabilize the market. But the most important thing, that by the law of this parliament, the law gives monetary policy powers to the Central Bank of Nigeria as it is today. And has been alluded, so far, the bank, through various regulations, interventions here and there, through various circulars and policies, trying so many things, has been able to stabilize. What matter of stability is, can I plan? If it is going to stabilize at 1 point, 1,002, 1,003, or whichever rate, that does not really matter. But you will be able to predict and determine and plan based on what you are going to get anytime you require that kind of thing in the market. Two, if we try to bring any policy or any law that will regulate another market, the secondary market, like has been said, from the primary market, there will be a conflict, a regulation, and we will end up going into problems. Three, if we do not allow the CBN to focus and independently determine the foreign exchange market, given the kind of capacity I know CBN has, and bringing into Ministry of Finance or some agency or some kind of body to be bringing laws and regulations that may be in tandem with that of CBN or may be in conflict with that of CBN, that may further bring the stability in the market. But I agree with the views that the bill be read thoroughly, understood thoroughly, so that going forward we will be able to add input as much as possible to bring in and to assist in stabilizing the market, Mr. President. I so submit.
Well, thank you. You cannot be commending him and at the same time punching him, because almost everybody that stood up here said, I commend. Don't commend. Just say that you welcome this discussion. But if it is not something that we have to dabble into, and then we believe that the monetary policy committees, the CBN, the fiscal policy of the Ministry of Finance are doing their best. Let's pinpoint where the areas of improvement that we can through legislation. But when we are talking about repeal and reenactment, what we are repealing is the foreign exchange monitoring and control. And we now want to reenact foreign, foreign exchange markets. And it's a bit confusing. So that's the reason why I said, are we not trying to put petrol on fire? Because like Senator Dankwambo pointed out, as soon as we dabble into this, people will say, oh, that a law is coming. And if the law is coming, let's buy as much as we can. Distinguished Senator Oshiomhole, you'll be raising your hand.
Mr. President, I really want to thank you for allowing me to say something. the fact that bills of this nature have to come from the executive. Number two, in an earlier decision, we said if we are going to repeal a law, the law must be available for us to look at and compare the provisions with the proposed new law. I am completely at home with the submission of Senator Abiru. And with profound respect to my friend, Sani, hard as you try, you try to appeal to our sentiment with regards to foreign exchange stability. Yet, the specific provision will do damage to that stability. Markets, by their nature, is well summarized by the man who has spoken and left, Senator Yaki, Senator Wadada. Sir, for Nigerians to hear that we are discussing a market informed by IMF thinking.
I think if you look very well, it may have moved from where he spoke. Wadada may still be around, but look around. It may be somewhere else.
Oh.
Oh, okay. You are now there. So it's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Thank you, sir.
Noted.
So I think, for example, you talk of stability, and you talk about liberalization. To liberalize is to remove control. How? To remove control is to make government completely redundant. I think, sir, with profound respect, I appreciate only incitation, stability. But the instrument you put here will do damage to stability. And I like to suggest that this thing be set aside completely because, like it was eloquently enumerated by my brother, Senator Dankwabo, once we start speculation that foreign exchange might change, laws might change very soon, once that is in the psyche, everything will go. And I'd like, finally, to comment on the remark by the Senate Committee Chairman on Appropriation, Senator Iyayi Olamileko. He was wondering how the mere pronouncement, because this is at the heart of Dakwabo's submission, the mere pronouncement that government will import more food, it will remove some elements of taxes and levies and duties, has already created tension in the market, and that naira has taken a dive. Why not? Once government announced that we intend to import more, and everybody is aware that that does not mean government is going to earn more forex. So that commitment to import more naturally leads to speculation that importation, additional importation, can only put more pressure on the naira. That results in the new rate that you are seeing. That is why, as Dakwabo said, we have to be careful. Because we have power to legislate, we cannot speculate. Anything done in this house, Nigerians will take it very seriously because we have the power to make laws, including the laws of life and death. Mr. President, I conclude by saying you have summarized it. You have amplified very meticulously the contradictions. I will profound respect. Let this law, let this bill rest in peace. It should attract no further hearing. It shouldn't go to public hearing because even that, we see suggests that we are trying to tinker with the CBN Act and the Foreign Exchange Market. If it is necessary, I'm sure the executive knows what to do. Thank you, Mr. President.
So, Senator Wadada, allow Senator Sani Musa to hear what I'm saying. Between Senator Sani Musa, you have an opportunity to make a comment and possibly withdraw this for further consultations, or I put the question. Distinguished colleagues, is it the view of the Senate that this bill be read a second time? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. Yes, leader of the Senate.